Hi, I'm Mary Wickman, Becker County Master Gardener. The 20 Master Gardeners who volunteer for Becker County host plant, pest, and garden clinics on Mondays and Fridays from 9 to noon during the months of May through September. And one of the questions that we receive often is, I have ants. What do I do about them? So today we're going to talk about ants. My information comes from a home insect workshop that I took in Fergus Falls through the University of Minnesota Extension Service. Like all insects, ants have 3 distinct body parts. They have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. And all ants have a pair of elbowed or bent antennae on their heads and a constricted area between the thorax and the abdomen called the petiole. The petiole either has 1 or 2 nodes, and it's important to know this because it'll help us in identifying which ants are a problem for us. Ants are social insects. There are workers, males, and queens. And knowing what species of ants is present helps to determine the nesting site, the food preferences, and the best control methods. In most cases, the most effective way for a permanent solution is to find the nest and destroy the queen. The queen needs to be killed to properly eliminate the colony. So you need to know what the queen looks like. The workers are sterile, wingless females ranging in size from about 1/20 of an inch to 1/2 inch long. The workers have various sizes from large to small, and the reproductive members of the colony are the males and the queens. The males are generally the same size or larger than the workers, but they're winged and they have a small head with a proportionately larger eyes. Their sole purpose is to mate with the queen, and they die shortly after that. The queens are the largest members of the colony. They're like 2 or 3 times larger than the workers. And they possess wings, but they do break off. They have large abdomens and they can live for a number of years. The males and the queens swarm from their nests to mate. And a given species mates during certain times of the year. So observing that will help you determine again what type of ant you have. Many different kinds of ants. They're small, they're hard to distinguish, and a lot of them are not common to Minnesota. Some of them are subtropical, and the only way they got here was to hitchhike on a plant from the nursery. So we're going to just focus on the ones that are a problem in Minnesota. But again, before you can control them, you need to identify them because there's different ways of controlling. How large are they? You're actually going to have to use a ruler to determine 1/20 of an inch. What colors are they? Ants are going to vary from yellow to red to brown to black, and a combination of all of those. And if you aren't sure, bring in a sample and we'll put it under our microscope at the office. So the first common way of identifying ants is by size. The larger ones are going to be the carpenter ants, but they fool us, and they also have a small variety. But normally carpenter ants would be larger, and then field ants. Field ants would have that 1 node on the petiole, and they have a simple eye on top of their head, and the food they prefer is sweet and honeydew, and they eat live and dead insects, and when they nest they mound. And they swarm from July to September. So again, identifying the type of ant you have will help in determining the control. Thief ants are the smallest. They're just minute, and they nest near the nests of larger ants, and then they steal from them. And they're yellow to light brown. And they're small enough to enter almost any type of food container. So nesting is in the soil and rotting trees, but they nest indoors in small spaces under the countertops. So when you ask us about the ants, we're going to ask you questions like, was it indoors or outdoors? When did you first notice the ants? How many are you seeing? Is it 1, 2, or lots of them? And if it's outdoors, tell us about the nest. If, again, some ants need pest management professionals from the start. Those would be like carpenter ants and pharaoh ants. You can't control them, and in fact, you trying to control them will divide them and cause a problem to grow, actually. So some ants are a temporary nuisance, and if ants are invading your home from the outside, maybe a perimeter spraying of your home would be necessary. So ants can be a nuisance, but ants can be controlled. But first you have to identify them. I hope this has helped you at least know that before you can control your ants, you have to find out what kind of ants you actually have in your home or outside your home.